You're an enormous success story, valued at over $8 billion within 10 years of first opening. So what do you do when a new competitor enters the market? Although a competitor, Netflix competed in a very different way to Blockbuster, whose business model focused on having store outlets, renting out new releases, and charging high late fees to earn profits. Netflix's approach was to not have retail stores, so it was able to stock a large range of titles. It posted out the videos, and this was years before streaming came along, and it didn't charge late fees. You just returned the video when you wanted to watch the next one. So what information would you want if you were running Blockbuster? There would be financial data, non-financial, and both internal and external data. However, before you consider the specific data or information you want, you need to go back a step. Accountants provide useful information, but why? To help stakeholders make decisions. So we need to first identify the relevant stakeholders and then determine what decisions they are making. Only then can we establish the information requirements and start piecing together our data collection and reporting methods. The key stakeholder at this point was the board, who needed to make important strategic decisions. The decisions Blockbuster needed to make in the 2000s included: should it launch an online streaming business? Should it reduce, eliminate or keep the late fees that currently generated 10% of revenues? Should it maintain its store locations, expand further, or even shut them down? And was it willing to reduce profits and even make some short-term losses to adopt an online model? Should it expand its movie list beyond the current hits and new releases? And most importantly, should it have bought Netflix for $50 million in the year 2000? Key information would include sales data, but future-looking and external data was also important because the environment was changing. Download speeds, customer trends, and the move towards online video watching were all critical. It might seem obvious now that Blockbuster should have focused more in the online area, but it wasn't that obvious at the time. The decisions that were made did not end up working out for Blockbuster. During the startup phase, Netflix was spending $100 to $200 per video, and customers were only paying $4 per rental. Not a great business model. But over time, as they became more efficient, as they tweaked and modified the business model, and online streaming became more technically viable, we can see that Blockbuster were foolish to ignore the market trends. In the end, Blockbuster was not willing to give up short-term profits from things such as late fees and spending to develop an effective online platform. This short-sighted approach, which paid too much attention to historical financial data and too little attention to future trends, led to both the destruction of over $8 billion in value and missing out on achieving a Netflix-style valuation of over $65 billion. If the board knew in advance how the movie would end, I wonder what they would have done differently.